of stealth on PlayStation, Solid Snake shouldn't be the only name that pops into your head. Credit is also due to Master Thief Sly Cooper, who pumped out an excellent trilogy of platformers on PlayStation 2. You would think that stealth would only get you so far in the Battle Royale, but that's only one of many tricks that this raccoon conceals. Not going to be sly about it, Cooper is quite simply a steal. You'll soon learn that in the right hands, Sly can be an absolute menace. But the first thing you should know is that he's not for beginners. His learning curve is pretty damn steep, and it stems mostly from three things: unmatched agility, a strong but situational moveset, and a unique ability that only he possesses. But before we start talking about that, let's take a look at the moveset. The square button is all about the Cooper family cane. Double tapping neutral square will swing the cane twice in quick succession for a 10 AP combo. Not particularly interesting, unless you attack from behind. In this scenario, the second hit of the combo will not only eject the opponent, but will also steal 20 AP from them. This isn't like a throw where the opponent's AP spills out onto the ground for anyone to grab. Here, the AP is absorbed directly from the opponent to you. This technique has tremendous synergy with other moves, so we'll come back to it later. Forward and square performs a dive roll with a decent reach. Like Drake's down and square, using this attack in close proximity will cause Sly to pass through the opponent. Up and square will launch the opponent into the air for 20 AP. Sly will follow after them, allowing you to continue the combo with aerial neutral square, flattening them. This combo is worth 40 AP in total and can chain with down and square for an excellent go-to combo. The aforementioned down and square has two forms. Uncharged, it will sweep opponents on both sides for 20 AP. When charged up, Sly will spin rapidly while moving forward, ejecting anybody caught in his path for 30 AP. Note that while you're charging this attack, you can quickly determine which direction Sly will move in when he unleashes it, by swinging the left analog stick left or right. The aerial forms of forward and square and up and square are identical to the ground forms. Aerial down and square works differently, however. This will cause Sly to dive straight down and eject nearby opponents upon landing. Like Fat Princess's down and triangle, this will also strike opponents during your descent. Those hits will yield 10 AP, while the ejecting slam will yield 20. Beware though, the long startup and cooldown can hinder you in a close range brawl. The moves found on triangle are hit and miss. Neutral triangle throws out an alarm clock that will stun nearby opponents. The startup of this move, plus the range of the initial throw, ensures that it almost never works in a one-on-one matchup, so think of it like a mine or grenade. Place it to trap incoming opponents, or throw it into a distracted group of them. The stun should leave you with enough time to, say, charge down and square. Aerial neutral triangle will also stun opponents, but without the use of the clock. Instead, Sly will swipe at short range with the cane. There's not much you can do to follow this up when both you and your opponent are airborne, but if you can time this move just as you're returning to the ground, you'll leave them wide open. Forward and triangle is the electromagnetic raccoon roll, an excellent move and Sly's longest ranged attack. This will eject opponents for 30 AP and propel Sly forward. Again, the aerial version works similarly. Sly will dart forward slightly and eject the opponent with his cane. Up and triangle is a move that you will quickly become acquainted with. This is the smoke bomb, Sly's teleport. Like Spike's up and circle, you can control which direction Sly teleports in by swinging the left analog stick left or right just as he disappears. But there are three things that make Sly's teleport much more useful than Spike's. 1. It's much faster and therefore more reliable when trying to escape from a close range brawl. 2. The teleport will auto-aim at close range. If you and your opponent are facing each other, activating the teleport will automatically spawn Sly behind them. Which leads us to 3. This is one of the moves that proves synergetic with Sly's neutral square AP steal. What I'm trying to say is don't ignore this move. It's key to what makes Sly so agile. Down and triangle will drop a bomb at mid-range that confuses opponents. On the receiving end, this attack works similarly to the Murder of Crows item, in that it will reverse your controls for a brief period. The cooldown and range of this move mean it serves little purpose other than to simply annoy other players. The aerial version has the same effect, but once again, Sly will strike with the cane at short range. I have a harder time landing this form of the move, however, as it's angled slightly downwards. On circle, we have Sly's most situational moves. Neutral circle will trigger Sly's counter, the decoy. Pressing circle just as an enemy attacks you will stun them and teleport Sly behind them. Technically, this move isn't quite as synergetic with the AP steal as up and triangle, since the opponent is facing you after a successful counter, but in practice you're still likely to catch them after the stun is worn off. The best part about this move is that the teleport will activate upon countering pretty much any form of attack. If you successfully counter a long range shot from Radix sniper rifle, you will automatically teleport straight to him. Forward and circle will cause Sly to slide forward, leaving a trail of electricity behind him. Sly can pass through opponents with this move and stun them with the trail for 10 AP. It can be difficult to follow up this move with anything, but if the stunned opponent is close enough, try slamming into them with forward and triangle. Alternatively, use this move as a trap. Bait an aerial opponent, then slide away as they fall towards you, allowing you to follow up more easily. Aerial forward and circle will trigger a slanted version of this move. Other than that, it has the same effects. A single tap of up and circle will spawn a barrel of explosives that Sly will jump into. In this state, he can walk left and right as normal, and can even deflect some projectile attacks. But pressing any other button will detonate the barrel and eject opponents for 30 AP. This is a great move for using on groups. Try jumping into the barrel while airborne with aerial up and circle, dropping into a brawl, and scattering everyone with a well-timed detonation. Finally, down and circle will place Sly's cap on the ground to act as a proximity mine. This will yield 20 AP and mini-launch anyone who doesn't look where they're going. Sly is no combo connoisseur. His situational moveset dictates that he's all about knowing when to use each move. So with that in mind, let's talk tactics. It's time you learned about what makes Sly truly special. Playing as any other character in the game, holding L1 allows you to block and evade attacks with the left analog stick. But Sly doesn't roll like that. Instead, holding L1 allows Sly to turn invisible. Pooh. This unique ability, plus Sly's teleport and counter moves, make up for his inability to block. But it takes a while to get used to, and even longer to use effectively. Your invisibility lasts for as long as you keep L1 held, but you don't get any special assistance in detecting where you are. You have to keep track of Sly, just as much as your opponents do. Bear in mind that the in-game camera will still take you into account while invisible, which will help and hinder you. The only attack you can execute while remaining invisible is neutral square, so you can at least use your AP steal without giving away your position. Using any other attack will instantly render Sly visible again. You also have a couple of extra moves tied to the jump button, neither of which will disrupt Sly's invisibility. Pressing cross while holding up on the left analog stick will vastly increase the height at which Sly jumps. Holding cross while in the air will bring out Sly's parachute, slowing his descent. Playing a character as fast as Sly, funnily enough, requires quick thinking. Unlike any other All-Star, your biggest asset is your agility. Combine this with your invisibility and your opponents will be tearing their hair out trying to pin you down. Believe me, I've been on that end. One final thing, I do have one Sly combo for punishing open opponents that is pretty much my go-to. Sweep the opponent with down and square, wait for them to start falling, and then follow up with up and square. If you timed it right, you should then be able to flatten them with aerial neutral square and finish for 60 AP. You can also follow down and square with forward and triangle for a slightly reduced 50 AP combo, if you're having trouble timing the other one. Sly has a good package of supers, but I would argue that they all take a bit of practice. None of them are quote-unquote practically guaranteed to net you a high number of kills with minimal effort, like Radix supers for example. Sly's level 1 will launch his partner in crime, Murray, straight forward. After colliding with someone and taking them out, he'll trip up and belly flop. Thanks to Murray's large mass, this final action serves as a last-ditch effort to score another kill. Murray can travel pretty far, about mid to long range, before he trips himself up. In short, positioning and timing are crucial if you're going for the multi-kill. Try using your invisibility to fake out your opponents and then surprise them with this super. You might be tempted to use one of Sly's many stun moves to set this up, but this yields mixed results. Attempting to use the level 1 while throwing the neutral triangle clock will cause Murray to trip over before he can pass over it. But if the clock is already placed and the opponent already stunned, the level 1 will work, if you're quick on the drop. Also, I have managed to combo forward and circle at mid-range into the level 1, but this requires you to be even faster, as you also have to turn around if you plan on launching it at the opponent. The level 2 is quite possibly the least agile aspect of Sly. He'll strap on a jetpack that will drop bombs upon pressing any of the attack buttons. This jetpack has painfully slow acceleration, massive drag, and isn't even that fast to begin with. Also, it lasts for just 4 seconds, so this isn't something you want to be chasing opponents down with. On an open stage, try and time your bomb drops for each opponent on a single flyover. On a busier stage, group them all together and then unleash your artillery for the multi-kill. You should have enough time there to chase down a single straggler. For his level 3, Sly will view the stage through his binocucom and photograph people to death? Seems legit. You don't have a full view of the stage through the binocucom, so you have to remember roughly where everyone is once you've activated the super, or you're going to be looking at a whole lot of nothing. When the reticule turns red hovering over an enemy, hit any of the attack buttons to make the killing shot. The shutter speed is pretty fast. If you're on the receiving end, you have less than a split second to dodge. As long as the reticule is red the instant you press the attack button, you'll pretty much always make the kill. The maximum yield from this super is 6 kills. It will last 10 seconds or until you've clicked the shutter 7 times, whichever comes first. I'm going to call it right now. When all is said and done, Sly Cooper will be one of the 3 hardest characters in this game to master. He won't appeal to everyone, I certainly didn't get along with him at first, but his unique abilities open up a different kind of playstyle that will appeal to anyone who prefers to be nimble in movement and swift in combat. Our key tips. Sly does not have a lot of combo potential. You must learn to quickly read situations and determine which of your moves will be most effective. I'd recommend up and circle for groups and catching out isolated opponents with up and triangle, then stealing their AP with neutral square. In case you didn't notice, Sly has no effective anti-airs. Therefore, your best strategy for dealing with incoming aerial assaults is evasion. Teleport away with up and triangle, or slide away with forward and circle. Sly has a lot of effective tools, but never forget the ultimate key to success, your invisibility. Stay on the outside of brawls and look for opportunities to steal AP. If it ever gets hairy, remember your teleport and neutral circle counter. Finally, just like his moveset, Sly's supers are more situational than most. Use your invisibility and stun moves to create opportunities for your level 1. Also, take your opponent's positioning into account before activating your level 2 and level 3. And with that, I wish you good luck in mastering this master feat. Until next time, I've been Jack from the Beard Network, and thank you for watching this All-Star Guide.